Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins have finally broken their silence, and the air around the franchise is thick with tension, speculation, and an undeniable sense of inevitability. For weeks, fans and analysts alike have whispered about the potential departures of two cornerstone players, WADDLE and CHUBB. And now the murmurs are no longer just rumors. The Dolphins have confirmed what many feared. WADDLE, a wide receiver whose speed and agility once electrified the NFL, has struggled to reach the explosive potential that many envisioned when he was drafted 6th overall in 2021. Despite flashes of brilliance, his performances have been inconsistent, and the team management has quietly acknowledged that maintaining his current contract and expecting significant improvement may no longer be viable. Meanwhile, CHUBB, a linebacker whose early career was marked by defensive dominance, has faced challenges adapting to the Dolphins' evolving defensive schemes, and injuries have limited his ability to influence games as decisively as anticipated. The reality is harsh. Talent alone cannot sustain a roster if the results fail to meet expectations, and the Dolphins are reportedly prioritizing restructuring over sentiment. Sources close to the organization suggest that discussions about possible trades and releases have been ongoing for months, with team executives meticulously weighing financial implications against long-term strategic goals, signaling a decisive, no-turning-back approach to reshaping their roster. As the news spreads, the fan base is torn between disappointment and reluctant acceptance, understanding that professional sports often demand difficult decisions that are unpopular yet deemed necessary. The implications of WADDLE and CHUBB leaving the Dolphins are massive, stretching far beyond the stadium walls into the psyche of a fan base that has invested emotionally, financially, and socially in the franchise's identity. WADDLE's presence on the field has long been marketed as a cornerstone of the Dolphins' offensive resurgence, a symbol of speed, agility, and youthful promise that captured headlines and social media trends alike. CHUBB, on the other hand, represented defensive fortitude, a player whose potential to disrupt offenses and generate turnovers was supposed to redefine the team's identity on that side of the ball. Their potential departures create a ripple effect, affecting team dynamics, morale, and even the perceived value of other players who remain on the roster. The Dolphins' management faces a delicate balancing act, trying to reassure fans while navigating salary caps, draft picks, and future recruitment strategies. The narrative is complicated. WADDLE's inconsistent production and CHUBB's injury history intersect with financial pressures and the team's vision for the next competitive phase. Inside sources indicate that internal discussions were tense, reflecting the challenge of separating personal attachment from strategic necessity, as coaches and executives debated whether holding on to these stars would ultimately hinder long-term success. Rumors of possible trade destinations and contractual negotiations swirl, with speculation suggesting that teams in need of explosive wide receivers and defensive reinforcements are already circling, ready to capitalize on the Dolphins' difficult choices. Social media has erupted with fan theories, conspiracy interpretations, and emotional responses, illustrating the intensity of public engagement when beloved athletes face uncertain futures. Analysts highlight that the decision is as much about financial pragmatism as it is about performance metrics, emphasizing that professional sports operate within unforgiving economic realities. The Dolphins are poised to enter a transformative period where bold decisions may either cement their reputation for strategic foresight or provoke lasting criticism for letting key talent slip away. As whispers turn into headlines, the atmosphere around the franchise is charged with speculation, tension, and a cautious curiosity about what comes next, signaling a dramatic shift in both roster and culture. Speculation is reaching fever pitch as insiders hint at behind-the-scenes negotiations that have reportedly stretched into marathon sessions between agents, team executives, and league officials. WADDLE's contract, once seen as a promising investment, has become a focal point of debate, with questions emerging about whether his ceiling justifies the financial commitment the Dolphins are expected to maintain. CHUBB's situation is equally complex, combining performance concerns with injury history, creating a scenario where his departure may be as much a preventive measure as a strategic recalibration. The Dolphins are reportedly exploring multiple pathways, from structured trades to conditional releases, attempting to optimize outcomes while minimizing backlash. Sources suggest that there is no single clear-cut solution, and the team's approach appears meticulously calculated, reflecting a commitment to long-term sustainability rather than short-term appeasement. Media outlets are abuzz with speculation regarding potential destinations, drawing on draft histories, team needs, and even locker room culture as indicators of where these players might land. The narrative paints a picture of calculated inevitability, as if the Dolphins' front office has reached a point where inaction is no longer an option and difficult decisions must be implemented to prevent stagnation. Rumors also point to complex negotiations with agents, aimed at ensuring WADDLE and CHUBB's market value remains protected while aligning with the Dolphins' objectives. Fan forums are filled with intense debate, ranging from tactical analysis to emotional appeals, reflecting the deep personal investment that supporters maintain in roster decisions. The interplay between financial strategy, player performance, and public perception creates a tense environment where every move is scrutinized, dissected, and endlessly speculated upon. Inside the organization, the pressure is immense, as executives are conscious that any misstep could have cascading consequences on both team culture and future recruitment. The buzz around the Dolphins has transcended local fandom, capturing national attention and framing the situation as one of the NFL's most compelling off-season storylines, blending performance evaluation with financial realism and emotional resonance, a reminder of the complex ecosystem that defines professional sports at the highest level. Rumors suggest that WADDLE's departure is not just about performance statistics, but also about fit within evolving offensive schemes that prioritize adaptability and consistency over raw talent. Coaches reportedly identified patterns indicating that his impact, while occasionally spectacular, lacked the regularity needed to anchor a team's long-term plans. The Dolphins' decision-making process appears data-driven, utilizing analytics, performance metrics, and historical trends to evaluate each roster spot, highlighting a shift toward evidence-based approaches in player management. CHUBB's case is similarly nuanced, where the intersection of health, performance, and future projections has made his retention increasingly untenable. Industry insiders indicate that alternative strategies were explored, including positional adjustments, medical interventions, and mentoring programs, yet these measures failed to resolve the underlying concerns. The atmosphere inside team meetings was reportedly intense, with spirited debates reflecting the tension between loyalty to veteran talent and strategic foresight. External speculation is fueling a media narrative that frames these departures as both inevitable and transformative, emphasizing the uncertainty surrounding the Dolphins' identity post-departure. Financial modeling appears to have played a critical role, demonstrating the high stakes involved in balancing salary obligations against performance outputs, an increasingly common tension in modern NFL management. Social media has amplified these conversations, turning insider information into public discourse as fans dissect statistics, game footage, and rumored trade discussions. The emotional dimension cannot be ignored. Supporters are not merely reacting to roster changes, but to the symbolic loss of players who were once considered emblematic of a franchise's future. Analysts argue that the Dolphins' approach reflects a willingness to confront hard truths, suggesting a proactive stance that values systemic coherence over individual attachment. Amidst the uncertainty, there is a growing sense that the team is signaling a shift in philosophy, one that could redefine their competitive strategy and alter perceptions of the franchise for years to come. As WADDLE and CHUBB's futures remain in flux, the tension between expectation and reality underscores the fragile balance that defines elite-level professional sports, where even celebrated talents are subject to rigorous scrutiny and difficult decisions. Insiders claim that talks surrounding potential trades or releases have been conducted with a level of secrecy designed to prevent destabilization of locker room morale. Confidentiality appears paramount, as the Dolphins aim to control the narrative while minimizing leaks that could spark unrest among players or create bargaining leverage elsewhere. Sources indicate that executives are exploring creative contractual solutions, perhaps involving incentives, conditional clauses, or staggered buyouts to manage risk while facilitating potential departures. The strategic calculus is complex. Retaining either Waddle or Chubb could constrain future roster flexibility, while moving them requires careful consideration of timing, potential partners, and long-term cap implications. Observers suggest that teams in need of explosive offensive talent or defensive reinforcement are monitoring the situation closely, prepared to make aggressive offers if the Dolphins signal willingness to negotiate. Analysts also point to a cultural component, noting that the ripple effects of such departures extend beyond immediate performance metrics, influencing team chemistry, locker room hierarchy, and even fan sentiment. The Dolphins appear acutely aware of this, structuring communications to balance transparency with discretion, ensuring that public messaging does not undermine internal cohesion. Rumors indicate that the organization is consulting with multiple stakeholders, from coaching staff to player representatives, in a process that is deliberate, high-stakes, and deeply strategic. The overall picture is one of meticulous orchestration, a franchise navigating turbulent waters with an eye on both immediate consequences and long-term objectives, signaling a period of transformation that is as unavoidable as it is carefully managed. Amidst this, fans and analysts alike are left to speculate, piece together fragments of information, and debate possible scenarios, contributing to a media environment that is simultaneously frantic, speculative, and intensely engaged. The Dolphins' maneuvering reflects a recognition that professional sports require constant adaptation, calculated risk-taking, and sometimes the courage to part with talent that no longer aligns with broader strategic imperatives. This combination of secrecy, strategy, and speculation has created a narrative that feels almost cinematic, highlighting the drama inherent in modern NFL operations. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The fan reaction to these developments has been immediate, intense, and highly polarized, reflecting the emotional investment that supporters maintain in their team's fortunes. Social media platforms are flooded with commentary, ranging from heartfelt tributes to Waddle and Chubb to sharp criticism of management decisions, illustrating the multi-layered dimensions of fan engagement in professional sports. Online forums are teeming with speculation about potential trade destinations, contract negotiations, and the possible impact on future draft strategies, indicating that public interest extends beyond immediate sentiment to tactical analysis. Pundits highlight that the emotional resonance of these departures is amplified by the players' perceived symbolic value, representing ideals such as speed, resilience, and defensive prowess that were central to the Dolphins' brand identity. As rumors swirl, fan communities are dissecting every available piece of information, turning statistical performance, injury history, and anecdotal evidence into a collective intelligence exercise that blends expertise, intuition, and passion. Some supporters express reluctant acceptance, acknowledging the economic and performance realities underpinning these decisions, while others adopt a more adversarial stance, questioning the foresight and priorities of the franchise. The online discourse is not merely reactionary. It functions as a participatory theater where fans attempt to influence narratives, pressure management, and assert agency in a context where direct influence is minimal. Media coverage mirrors this dynamic, amplifying rumors, framing analyses, and often emphasizing dramatic tension to maximize engagement. Analysts suggest that this environment underscores a broader truth about modern sports. The interconnection between performance, business decisions, and fan perception is increasingly intricate, and every roster move reverberates through multiple social and economic strata. In this context, the Dolphins' handling of Waddle and Chubb situations is not only a matter of operational strategy, but also a test of narrative control, public relations acumen, and the ability to navigate the emotional landscapes of a devoted, highly vocal fan base. As speculation continues to mount, the saga surrounding these departures exemplifies the complex interplay of talent evaluation, economic constraint, and cultural symbolism that defines the contemporary NFL experience. Industry insiders caution that the ultimate outcomes of these potential departures remain uncertain, emphasizing that while rumors have solid grounding, negotiations, injuries, and unexpected opportunities could alter trajectories. Waddle and Chubb, despite facing challenges, retain market value, making them attractive prospects for teams seeking to bolster specific positional needs. The Dolphins' maneuvering is reportedly highly calculated, reflecting a balance between maximizing return, mitigating risk, and aligning roster composition with strategic priorities. Analysts speculate that multiple scenarios are plausible, from blockbuster trades to conditional releases, each carrying distinct implications for salary cap management, draft, positioning, and team identity. The internal discourse appears nuanced, involving assessments of player potential, performance consistency, injury prognosis, and compatibility with broader team philosophies. Media outlets are closely tracking developments, often sourcing information from league insiders, agents, and former players to contextualize rumors and provide real-time analysis. Fan reactions remain highly variable, encompassing disappointment, anger, cautious optimism, and tactical speculation, demonstrating that the emotional stakes are as high as the material ones. Reports also suggest that the Dolphins' leadership is keenly aware of public perception, attempting to manage narrative while preserving strategic flexibility. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.